Oh, hello everyone. I'm Kadira Shaw, the Vice President of Events and Programming here at Student Artist League, and I would like to welcome you to the Arts Leadership Conference. This is the Student Artist League first event of the year, and we are going to have a lot of panels, Q&As, and discussions here about the arts on campus. First up, we have the crew of Sadie speech, an all-female directed senior capstone film. Next, we have Ronnie Diddle, a photographer who will be showcasing some of his work. And then we have Michael Hanley, a singer-songwriter who will be presenting some of his songs and talking about his musical journey. We thank you all for being here, and we hope you have a lot of fun at this event.
So my name is Sean Fernandez. I'm the founder and president of the Student Artist League. We're so happy to have the crew of Sadie's speech here today. I'm going to lead a little bit of information about the crew first. And this was submitted by the crew. Our team has two things in common. We all have sisters and a shared desire to tell stories. Sadie's speech focuses on a complicated yet unconditional relationship between sisters. We showcase that you can't always take yourself too seriously, and sometimes all you need is a little bit of magic. The short film follows Sadie on the morning of her younger sister, Violet's, wedding day. Sadie is our strange and lovable protagonist who makes a drunken embarrassment of herself at the rehearsal dinner and misplaced her maid of honor speech on the day of the wedding. So we have 5 members of the crew here today. We have Isabella Foley. Isabella is a third-year film, television, and media arts major, minor in public relations. She will be pursuing her master's degree in cinematic production management next year. And for Sadie's speech, she is the director of photography. And she can't wait to create Sadie's story for the screen. She's inspired by her sister in the making of this film and is so excited to start filming so soon, right? Audrey Scafati, third year, 3+1 film, television, media arts major, women, gender studies minor. Next year, she'll be a master's student in cinematic production management program. In Sadie's speech, Audrey is the director of the film, and she co-wrote the script with her team. She can't wait to see this film come to life and can't wait to share the production process of this film. Krista Barong. Krista is a third year, 3+1 film, television, media arts major. I'll just say it right here, they're all film, television, media arts. Minors in both sociology and theater studies. She plans to graduate in May with her bachelor's degree and will continue her education at Quinnipiac to obtain her, guess what, cinematic production management. As an editor for Sadie's speech, Krista can't wait to work some magic in the editing suites and bring the entire film together in a cohesive piece. Jessica Black. Jess is in her 4th year as a double major in film, television, media, and computer information systems. As the producer of Sadie's speech, Jess is so excited to see all of the pieces of the production come together when they call action in a little over a week. Wow. And finally, Liz Ippolito. Liz, third year, 3+1 FTM, minor media studies. After graduation, plans on pursuing her master's in cinematic production management. I just got an email. She's the first assistant director for Sadie's speech and can't wait to start production. All right, that's a lot. But I hope you learned a little bit about our panelists, and we're going to go and learn some more. We have the mics in the front, so if any of you want to answer the first question, just pass the mics around. But where did the idea for Sadie's speech first come from? This story of the drunken sister, and this comedic aspect. How did that first originate?
Yeah, well, I had the idea. It was weird. I was driving home from a short film competition in Boston, and I don't know what it was. I was just like, I was by myself, and I was just thinking of, we had to come up with a movie script, and we knew we wanted to do something about sisters. I always love sister stories, sister movies. They always speak to me. I have a little sister of my own, and yeah, I was just driving home, and it hit me. It was like maid of honor speech. So I called Bella, and I was like, Bella, I have this idea. I don't know anything about what it's gonna be, but maid of honor speech. And first we started as like a drama that takes place entirely in a childhood home. It evolved into a after the wedding type movie, and now it's a comedy that takes place entirely before the wedding. Yeah, it's gone through so many changes, and it's really cool to see.
So what was it like navigating those changes from originally starting to be a drama into comedy? Because that's very far.
I thought it was hard. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be a comedy. I wanted to tell a meaningful movie, because in my head you can't tell I don't know, in my head I couldn't tell a story that had deep, impactful meaning if it was kind of taken as a joke. But I slowly started to adjust to the idea, and then I think we all kind of fell in love with the idea of making it a funny story.
It's very hard to be funny. During the script writing process, it was oh, that joke isn't hitting, and we would talk to our advisor Ash, who's one of the professors here. We knew that if she laughed, then it was really funny, because she's very honest. But it was definitely a long process, many drafts of the script before we got what we wanted. But we're all really happy with this comedy now. It'll be an even more fun environment on set now that it's a heartfelt kind of genre as well.
And how long did the script writing process take for you?
Well, the idea, that phone call was in May
last year.
and we locked the script in December. So there were 8 drafts total. I have 8 different exports on my laptop. Sadie's one. And actually, Sadie wasn't always named Sadie. She started with Margot. I really liked the name Margot. And then no one liked Margot. So we changed it.
Margot's speech.
Margot's speech, and then we changed it to Bailey, and then everyone hated Bailey. So we went for a little alliteration with Sadie's speech. Yeah.
And then, so on the topic of names, I know the main character's named Sadie. How did you go about choosing the name Violet? Was there any sense of importance?
I just like the name.
Violet. Go with
We
Violet.
kind of see how we all felt about it. And fun fact, Margot and Bailey are still characters in the movie. So basically
Even
all
then.
of the past drafts and things from the script writing process are kind of still hidden in there, more for us to know. And it made it confusing for a little while when we decided to keep all the names we had drafted. But it's kind of like a fun little Easter egg there.
Fun little callback.
Yeah.
This is an all-female senior film capstone group, something that hasn't been done at Quinnipiac before, or at least haven't been done in a while. Another cool thing about your group is that you all have sisters, which is why this story is, in a way, kind of personal to all of you, and you all have that background that's coming into it. So, can you talk a little bit to us about that background? We're all female group, and you all have sisters. How does that affect the process as a whole?
I mean, we had the idea it was last year, it was actually a year ago recently, that we kind of decided to be a group, the 6 of us. Caroline's in here, she's our production designer, but it kind of just happened naturally. I mean, me, Bella, and Krista, we had the idea to have an all-female group, and then it just kind of worked out, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was the 3 of us, and then I remember I talked to Caroline and Liz, and I was like, do you guys want to be in a group with us? And then I remember so Jess and I are on dance company together, and Jess was also looking for a capstone group because out of all of us, you're the only one that's not in the 3+1 because you're the double major in your 4th year. But I remember at practice one day, I was like, so Jess, do you want to be our producer? And she was like, yeah. So that's all how it kind of came together, and how we have our all-female capstone group.
Yeah, also I distinctly remember the day that Krista asked me, and I went home and I was like, guys, to my suitemates, and I was like, oh my god, we're doing an all-female group, I don't think that's ever been done, and I think it's a great idea, and I think that Quinnipiac should, there should be more women in film.
Can you talk a little bit more about the importance of that, women in film? Because, unfortunately, women at all the times, though they are, they're represented as much, or they aren't. I'm losing track of what I was saying here. Just talk a little bit about that, if you could.
Yeah, I love the idea. I'm so glad that we did this, and I guess worked with a bunch of really talented women. And I think we don't, as children, we don't get to see a lot of women directors or women directors of photography, women producers, and I think like now a lot of people can see that like it's something that can be done, and I think it's great.
There you go.
Yeah, and I think at least in the 3+1 program in our grade for third years, there's a lot of us women, and I remember like being in classes and stuff, and the professor would be like, "Oh wow, like the men are outed by the women in this one." And it's just like, why? Like, why does it matter? But yeah, it's like awesome to just work with this incredible group of women and to tell a story that we all.
Another really cool thing about our script is that like all of the main characters are women. So like, yes, there's a like, it's the concept of a wedding, but the husband isn't. We like half gave him a name. Like it's just not. I mean, like he'll be there, but it's just not the main characters. We wanted to focus specifically on just having women kind of be the center of everything that we're doing, just because that's not kind of seen a lot in the film industry, and it's been a big draw for a lot of the actresses. They were thrilled that they were working with all women and that it was going to be just a big group of women. So I think that's also something that it helped a lot. There's some funding that we got specifically because people wanted to support us and wanted to see us be successful because of like the kind of what we're doing.
That's fantastic. We're about to take some questions from the audience. So while I ask this last question I have for our wonderful panel here, think about what you're going to ask. We'll pass the mic around. You mentioned the funding for Sadie's speech. You had this whole gigantic campaign. I watched that video, by the way. I love the transitions and everything. So can you talk a little bit to us about that process? Like, what were the steps to getting greenlit?
It was definitely a process. We all like had to choose the platform we're gonna do it on, and kind of based on our script, a rough budget that we might want to raise, but then also look at, okay, there's 6 of us, most of the groups have 8 people. How are we going to raise $15,000? And so definitely we spent a lot of time creating our page to make it look the most detailed and the best that it could, so that people would want to donate. But it was a tough process, and there was a time that some of us didn't know if we were going to hit our goal. I knew we were always going to get there, and we did. We ended up raising $16,500, but we only got like $16,000 of it because of like, not even taxes, because of like credit card fees, we have proof fees. But so we have like about $16,000 to work with, which is still a lot of money, but we're definitely seeing it fly by as the week before, and we're doing production design and buying everything. But it was a really cool process, kind of reaching out to our friends and family and saying, hey, we're doing this really cool thing, and just seeing all the support that we got, and from some of the people that we don't even know. Like one of our actresses donated like some money, and her family donated, so it's just cool to see the support coming kind of from all over the place. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We're now going to take audience questions. Mira over here has the mic. She's going to go around, ask audience questions. Does anyone have any questions for our panel? Oh, we have one. All the way in the back.
So I know that you guys are going to start filming soon in January, so you guys are kind of transitioning out of like the whole pre-production process from May to now. So I was just kind of wondering, like, from all of you guys, like, what was your favorite part of like the pre-production process, whether it be like coming up with ideas, script, crowdfunding, anything?
So I guess my favorite part was when it was probably in like July, we're on a Zoom call, and when we kind of like started solidifying our ideas, and we were like, yes, we all want to do this, and we all want to do that, and just seeing, even though what we originally thought wasn't what ended up coming to fruition, like just having us all connect and really like have the same passion for it, and like see like the sparks fly, like even though we were on Zoom, I think that probably was my favorite part about it, just like knowing we all wanted the same things and that we were able to actually create that.
I would say that one of the most challenging but rewarding and my favorite part of the process would be when we did our promotional video, because we unfortunately had to film it twice, just because of technical problems, and I think it really taught us a lot about how we can work together and also prevent problems on set. So we kind of all took it as a blessing in disguise, and it just made us stronger as a team. And once we were able to get that promo video out, it was really rewarding just getting to put our story out for everybody to see, and getting that support on social media and getting to share it finally, because we've been waiting so long for everybody to see it. And getting a lot of attention and views on the video was really rewarding to see like our first big project come together as a team. So that was my favorite.
I think I have to agree. I mean, filming it was obviously very fun, and then being that I'm the editor, I edited it all together. And when we the first time that we filmed our promotional video, both two SD cards got corrupted, so we lost all our footage, which was definitely really hard, and then, but definitely a learning process, because now we know what to not do, and we're gonna offload like all the time. So just being able to like, even when we're writing the script, to like, in my brain, see the transitions and how this movie is gonna come together, and like, even doing so during our promotional video, just seeing it, all the pieces are connecting together, and I'm just so excited to like, because I haven't really been doing too much in the pre-production, production process, but post-production's all me, so I'm really excited to get to there.
I would say my favorite part of pre-production was doing the casting. It was so fun, like getting to see all the different talented people out there, and me, Jess, and Audrey spent a lot of quality time in Zoom calls over winter break, so it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad like I was part of the decision to cast our main cast.
Liz just took mine. So I'll say the script writing process, that was like an oddly like rewarding, but it was really hard, because there would be times that like I didn't like what we wrote. I know that there was a time that I like cried to Bella. I was like, this stinks, and but now I'm like, it's so weird to see that I'm so confident and so happy with the story we have, and it's just like to think that I was ever upset about what we had is crazy. But I don't know, I just think that all of the pre-production issues and kind of troubles made it all worth it.
All right, going to go to our next audience question.
I'm curious to learn more about the casting process, because obviously your film is very based in values and sisterhood, so I'm curious how you chose your actresses, knowing that they would properly represent the message you want to get across and kind of embody your film as best as possible.
Yeah, casting was me, Liz, and Jess all over winter break, and it was kind of crazy, kind of exciting. We had over 300 people interested in being in our film, which that alone is crazy, because it's like, who wants to be in a student film from Hamden, Connecticut? But so that was kind of overwhelming. But looking through all the people, all the parts, like there were so many people that I really loved. Like we had a really hard time kind of narrowing it down. But yeah, it was weird, because when we were talking, I never put character descriptions in the script, because I don't know, I just kind of thought that these people would come naturally, and I don't really care what people look like. So, but obviously when you're writing something, you have a vision of this person in your head. So I always imagined Sadie as a blonde, and it was so interesting talking to like Jess and Liz, because like we would get a brunette, we actually cast a brunette, and I was just like, yeah, just like that's not who I see in my head. And then Liz was like, no, Sadie's such a brunette. It's so it was weird kind of doing that, because it was like, and I felt like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, because it's like these characters that I've had in my head since May that like I'm now like kind of putting to life. Like I'm giving them a face and a height and a personality, and it's so that was challenging for me. Yeah. I don't know if you guys agree.
It was definitely a fun process, because like I have a relationship with my sister, and I'm like, oh, like Violet's a blonde because my sister's blonde, and Sadie's a brunette because I'm a brunette. And just being able to see them, like some of them could make me laugh, some of them couldn't, and just kind of putting that all together. And it was really hard to have to tell some people no, because I wanted to be a lot of their friends, but I'd be like, hey, sorry, like you can't. So.
also, it was interesting because we're reading this script over and over. Like, I did not help write it, but I did read every single one of the drafts. And so you're kind of going through how we thought that some of the scenes were going to go, and then you see these like actresses do it in a completely different way, but it was also just so amazing. So to be able to like give up the idea in your head and like let them do it in a way that like maybe we never thought of before, but it made it so much better. Like, so it was interesting, but then to know when we liked the changes and when we didn't, and then by the end, like we pretty much knew what corrections Audrey was gonna say to the people. Like I knew, oh my gosh, she's like 3 things she's gonna go to. Which one is she gonna do this time? But it was really cool, and a lot of the actresses are from New York, so they're like really talented, and we were just like the first couple we were blown away, like just couldn't have imagined like how great they are, and we have 3 really great people, 4 really great people cast right now. So.
All right, do we have any more audience questions? Yes.
So I was wondering, because I actually have a sister who's 2 years younger than me, and we've both been each other's maid of honor in our wedding. So I was just wondering, like, what aspect of the sister relationship did you want to bring out in the film, and what things from like your own relationships with your own sisters wound up in the final script, or in like maybe a different version of the script that you cut?
I'm not married, and my little sister is 16, so she also is not married. But ever since we were little, we've talked about how we're gonna be in each other's weddings, and yeah, I don't know. I was just, it's like I don't know. You know, as a sister relationship, it's like there's nothing like it. It's like you have like. It's like maybe you're not always friends, maybe you're not always hanging out, but like you're sisters, your family, so it's like you're always gonna be there for each other. And that's really what I wanted to kind of portray in this script, because Sadie and Violet, they're not very close, but they're sisters and they're there for each other. And I think that's a lot of like me and my sister, we're pretty much polar opposites when it comes to our interests and everything, but like, oh, I feel myself. So I always I wanted to put in that like you can be different and you can not have anything in common, but what's most important is like your sisters, you're there for each other. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to channel into that.
I also have a younger sister that's similar age to Audrey, so we relate a lot on those kinds of things of being a big sister. And the funny thing about all of us is half of us are younger and half of us are older, right? So we all have a little bit of a different perspective, and we can both relate to Violet and Sadie in different ways. And I think something we pride ourselves on in telling this story is the reality of sisterhood. It's not perfect. And especially as you grow up, like I noticed like my relationship with my sister's constantly changing in the different phases of our lives, and I think that's something that we really want to show in this film. Is like in this big part of Violet's life, how is Sadie fitting into that, or how is she not fitting into it? And how does that affect both of them? You know, it can be different, especially once you get older, when one has a significant other and one does not, and how to relate to each other and still be there for one another, even if you can't completely understand their perspective. But it's all about listening, and at the end of the day, just knowing that you always have a built-in best friend. Oh, yes, Jess made a good point. I personally, when we were doing production design, Caroline had a great idea of all of us bringing things from home that we could put into the film. And I was so excited to bring in this. I was so excited because right before I came back, I was looking for things in my house that I put in there that would mean something to me. And personally, I found an old Big Sister necklace I had from like Justice when I was like 10. It's like the half a heart, and it says like Big Sis on it, it's like hot pink. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I used to wear this, and my sister has the other half. She's like, I think I still have mine. And so I brought it so we could like put it in like, design like the childhood bedroom to put things that mean something to all of us. And I think that's fun too, is like we all want to put a little bit of our sisters in the film, whether you can see it or whether you can feel it. So that's also something that we wanted to incorporate.
We have time for 2 or 3 more questions from the audience. Do we have any more questions for our crew today? All right, so I'm going to ask some. So what is next for this process of creating the film? What are your next steps here?
So we have
a week. We go to our first location in exactly a week to start setting up. This week is going to be filled with lots of things. We've had some challenges that we had to overcome that kind of last minute that we need to kind of deal with, but for the most part, it's Caroline to dress every location, and then Audrey to direct all the actors in the way that we all envisioned.
Yeah, 8 days. Kind of wacky, kind of strange. Kind of can't believe that it's happening in 8 days. Like I can see that on my hands. Yeah, I mean, I still have to like go through the script and everything, and like write my own little notes and reminders. But I'm just most looking forward to working with the actors, actresses. I've never done that on a professional scale before, and I think I can say that for all of us. Like, we haven't done anything on this big a scale. I mean, these are the people that I put in my movies since freshman year, so it's like, I've always just like kind of told my friends, like, no, you gotta look this way, but it's like, it's different when you're but working with, like, not adults, but like professionals. So it's nerve-wracking. Probably won't get much sleep from now until then, but yeah, it's really exciting.
Audrey briefly mentioned this, but you've been working with each other for like the past 3 years or so, since you were all either freshmen or sophomore, and really, up down creating the senior capstone film. So can you talk about a little bit about like Quinnipiac film community, like how have they supported you, how have you all supported each other as you've learned more about this industry?
Yeah, I mean, me, Bella, and Krista lived in the same building, same floor our freshman year, and it was COVID, so it was like we couldn't leave, and we really only had each other. We only had our rooms to do our projects in. Liz and I just recently discovered that we did a project together freshman year and like didn't really remember that at all. So it's just like so many weird like little things connecting us, but yeah, it's been cool.
I would just say that throughout the past 2 years, we've really been able to see each other's strengths. We keep saying like me, Audrey, and Chris, like we all had classes together. We all see like how we've all thrived in like other things too. Like they're in a dance company together, like different clubs and different things we do at home. And I would say I feel like we've so perfectly fit into all of our roles. None of us wanted to do the same thing, which doesn't always happen, or at least no one said so. But we were all happy to be doing the roles we're in, and I feel like we so perfectly work together in harmony and work as a team, because that can be hard sometimes when you can't agree on, who can even do what role. And so I think throughout the years we've been able to see each other thrive in different areas, or if like someone wasn't sure what position they wanted to be in our team, we were like, I really think you'd be great at that. And I think we've all definitely thrived in that way. And just being able to observe and work together these past few years have brought us to where we are now.
Yeah, and like I could never be like the director or the producer or any of that. I didn't even know what the assistant director was. And Bella was like, I think you'd be really good at it. And I was like, all right. And now I really love it, and I like love to do it in the future. So it's a nice like learning experience. It's to kind of see like what you like and what you don't like.
And she's good at it.
Thanks.
Any more questions? Last call. When does the film come out?
Well, our showcase will be on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, come pack the barn, watch Sadie's speech.
All right. Well, you all heard it here. Go and check out their film. Is there any place on social media where we can find you?
Yeah, at Sadie Speech Film on Instagram and on TikTok. And on Facebook.
There you go.
And on Venmo. You can check our Seed and Spark page out first. Obviously, we're done with the crowdfunding aspect, but like we have all of our info on there, all of our about pages. If you wanna look at our faces a little bit more, yeah.
Well, if there are no more questions, Audrey, Liz, Jess, Isabella, Krista, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. And give a round of applause for Anna. Thank you so much.